little bit about me. You want to know about me a little bit? All right, so I've been working with entrepreneurs ever since I started practicing, which is over 16 years now, okay? So I've set up literally in hundreds of companies. I'm not talking hundreds. And I've set up anywhere from consulting firms, engineering, software, IT, security, all the way to restaurants, hair salons, construction companies. Of course, I work with Iranians, so we do a lot of real estate companies. I've done a lot of investment holding VC companies. I've structured those. And I've set up companies all the way from China, all the way to Middle East, all Latin Americas, all of Europe, pretty much Asia. So I've done quite a bit of, some of those things I had to hire other lawyers who are local to work with them, but I've structured the way we want to do business and got their consulting for setting up the actual companies in those countries. One of the best parts about my job, the best part about being, getting to what I do, is I've witnessed over dinner, over coffee, over chai, somebody's idea becoming $100 million companies in a small span of time. So that's the best part of my job. I get to learn about people's businesses from a perspective that nobody else gets to understand. Because I got to understand your business to be able to be part of you expanding and setting up the structure that works for you, okay? And it makes a huge difference right off the bat how you structure your company. And don't underestimate that. People will tell you, just go set up a company. It's not that simple, okay? So I know why, because I get a lot of you who go and hire some $300, $400 company coming to me and ending up spending thousands of dollars later to clean up the mess that was created. So, people always want, I understand, it's like a chicken situation, So you're starting a business, you want to save money. So you want to cut the cost. So where do you cut the cost? That's not where you should cut the cost. Because you cut the cost catches up with you later. And the good news is Silicon Valley, the good news is most of the law firms actually have flat fees for people like you. Because they understand that early on, it's really hard to spend that kind of money. So they do really flat fees to set up a company properly. And then as it grows, obviously, they hope they get your business as you grow. So that's the idea. So your lawyer and your accountant should be your best friend for your business. You should like your lawyer, you should like your accountant, by the way. So just don't go, So I love those $300, $400 companies that you go, because I end up charging you hourly afterward. So I make good money. Anyway, so I have worked with entrepreneurs, so to get to see their vision, and I've worked from inside where we came in as an investor. I've seen hundreds of companies. I said, I've been around for a long time, so I've seen a lot of stuff. And so the best part about it is I can, somebody like me, or not only needs to understand your business, but I also get to ask the hard questions, because when you're excited about a project you have, the last thing you want to think about is things that are not going to work out. And that's the part people hate lawyers for, because that's my job, to tell you what the red flags are, what you shouldn't be doing. And no business person wants to hear that, right? So, but I've learned how to get over the fact that most people don't like lawyers. So you can make as many lawyer jokes as you want, I'm fine. So obviously in structuring a company and making decisions, there's a lot of things you have to think about. But we have only an hour and 25 minutes from now on. So what we're going to do is just focus on one specific issue. And today is how to set up the proper company and things you have to think about in California, okay? So I know you have companies other places, but ultimately your decision is about setting up a company in California. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay. So just doing a little disclosure over here. Obviously, whatever I tell you is general. I'm not giving you specific information. Don't use this to make decisions about your company in particular. Please make sure you consult with your attorney or your accountant when you're ready to do this, okay? I'm just giving the general information that you just need to know as you make these decisions, okay? We're good? Mm-hmm. So let's start. Tell me, you can raise your hand, tell me about the type of companies that you know. When you say I want to set up a company, what does that mean? What kind of company? Do you know it structurally? What have you heard about companies that you can set up? Options that you have? Go ahead.
Public and private.
Okay, okay.
Corporate.
Exactly.
And limited liability company.
Excellent. Anybody else? Any other type of company you ever heard of other than corporate LLCs in Silicon Valley?
Sole
proprietorship.
proprietorship.
What? What was it?
Sole proprietorship.
Sole proprietor, that's right. That's another way of doing business. Excellent. What else?
Partnership.
Excellent, excellent. Anything else?
S corp, C corp.
Excellent. We could skip it, look with this way. We could this way, is that? Okay. All right, so these are some options I put up there. Nobody mentioned nonprofit, ironically. Interesting, huh? Think about that for a
They're
second.
sitting in a nonprofit.
And it's funny because I actually have nonprofits for really money-making machines. So when you go out there to structure, it's important to understand your business. So these are typical. These are typical things that you're going to hear. Most common ones, obviously corporations. We're going to get into what is C corp or the S corp. We're going to get into that, and that's a decision you have to make. Obviously, limited liability companies called LLCs also. We have something called professional corporations. Believe it or not, there's certain kinds of businesses you cannot set up anything but professional corporations, including law firms. Okay, we get into that too. Partnership. Somebody said partnership. That's another way of doing a company or general partnership, limited partnership. Those are options. Obviously nonprofit, and obviously sole proprietorship, which basically means you run business on your own. You don't necessarily have a formal company to do anything. Okay. So today, I'm not going to, because like this nonprofit can itself be a whole session. So what we're going to talk about today, or professional corporation is not necessarily, I'm going to touch on it, but it's not important for this audience today. We're going to focus on corporations and limited companies today. Okay? We're good? Everybody's good? Yes.
Quick question. With a non-profit, is it only for charities or you could do anything that doesn't make profit?
It's not for, there are actually different types of nonprofits, so depending on what you're going to do. The answer to your question is both. Okay? The most important element in deciding how you're structuring a company is going to be your business plan, obviously. Because that business plan sets up things you can do, as far as the legalese for setting up a company, and things you cannot do. Okay? So, for example, if you have a construction company, you have to have a license to run a construction. That cannot be an LLC. It has to be a corporation. Okay? If you have, believe it or not, a hair salon, you cannot be an LLC because it requires a license. So anything that requires a California state license that you have to get a license to do, you cannot be an LLC. So that's right off the bat. So then you know things that you cannot be. We always do the elimination game. You cut off things you cannot be, so we know what we can do, right? So then, professionals, lawyers, accountants, who else I can tell you? Architects. We cannot have regular corporations. We can only be professional corporations. Okay. So not only we cannot have an LLC, we have to have a professional corporation. So we're not gonna. That's just the extent of the conversation I'm gonna have about professional corporations. Now. Okay, so some of you said you have partners. How many of you have partners again? Raise your hand. I cannot emphasize enough, and this is the lawyer talk that's going to come in. As much as I love to tell you, as when you bring partners into a business, that you're all going to ride that white horse and make that unicorn company together and have $1 billion company. Reality is more than 50% of partnerships end up in dissolution. Okay, they say. Until you travel or you work with somebody, you don't know. You don't know them. So I get a lot of situations where people just have friends, they're best friends. They've gone to college together, they've been kids, and they played soccer on the streets and stay around together, or whatever. They end up coming here, they have a dream, they're going to do a business together. So it's very hard to have that conversation with your friend. Let's sit down and do the legalese now. Let's talk about our partnership. What you do, what I do, what you get, what I get. Okay? We like to do things by handshake and never deal with it, under the carpet. That way we don't have to deal with it. Well, the problem is, you come in and you start a business and it's doing very well, you guys just don't get along. Somebody's got to buy the other one out or something, and what happens is you basically lose your business. Oh, that was an evil laugh. That's when I come in, right? But really, I I've learned in my years and seeing all these companies out, and some of them really have done fantastic at it. The ones that do very well is the ones who have those conversations early on and put it on paper. Because then you all tackle family Roshan. Nobody has to, if it's not getting along, you just go get that paper and you go over and review with each other. And I say, dude, or you're just not, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. It makes the conversation much easier. So aside from setting up this whole thing about liability and all that, and as a lawyer, I tell you have to go set up a company because it protects you from your liability. The most important thing one of the most important things about having a company is also it forces you to formalize your relationships early on, especially with your founders. So I can't emphasize enough how important that is. The other element that you have to think about is if you're self-funding or you're bringing investors. And when I did a round, almost half of you said at some point you're going to have investors come in. So structuring your company, if you're going to bring an investor, is very different than when you're self-funding or you're having a project that's going to pay itself out. Because you might want to do an LLC. If you don't have investors come in, LLC might be a much better format for you than having a corporation. So, I know there's a trend in Silicon Valley, they tell you, oh, you have to have an S corp. But be careful about those things, but that doesn't necessarily work for everybody. So if you have a consulting firm, it's very different than you have a software engineering firm when you're trying to put an application that you need to get funding for. So, these are kind of things you have to early, and that's why I'm saying your business plan will pretty much give you guidance on what you need to be doing, okay? So you need to kind of decide early on if you're going to do fundraising or not too. So you have to kind of talk about that and figure that out. Tell me, how many of you have been told Delaware is a great place to set up a corporation because of the cost of taxes? Yeah? You all have heard that, right? Delaware is a great place.
But it's good for products, product corporations, right?
All right, so how many of you have been told to go to Nevada? How many of you do business in Nevada? How many of you do business in California? How many are planning to be in California? Almost everybody, right? So I have news for you. Just because you want to set up a company in Delaware or Nevada does not mean California doesn't charge you taxes.
Yeah.
Okay? So whoever gave you that information gave you the wrong information. Okay? So bear with that. That's just, so this is a myth. That if I go to Delaware or Nevada, I don't have to pay taxes. Yes, you don't pay Nevada or Delaware tax, but guess what? You will have to sign up as a foreign entity in California. You will get taxed the same way whether you were going to be in California or not. And your cost is double for setting up the company in some other state. So these are things that, that's why you shouldn't go to self-setting up corporation. Because, one of your friends said, oh, I did a Delaware corporation. You should go do that. And you end up doing that, and you end up having to dissolve that company and convert it to cap because, that's not going to work for you. So, Delaware is very popular, and I take that right off. Do you guys know why Delaware is so popular? Why is it that everybody who has an investor coming in, the lawyer would tell you set up a Delaware corporation?
Protection laws for the investors?
Very good. I would have given you a start. Did you guys follow that?
No.
Okay. Delaware is the oldest state of the United States. That's the number one state of the Union. Okay? Delaware has the oldest structured corporate laws on the book. They've been litigated so much that they have become the state that understands corporate law. And the structure of it is that it protects the investors and the stock options. Okay? So when somebody comes to invest in a company, they prefer Delaware because Delaware law protects their interests. It has nothing to do with whether it's good for the company to be in California or Delaware. Ultimately, it doesn't make a difference. It's just that structure has been proven and it's comfortable. So when you have these big investors come in with the big law firms, they prefer a Delaware corporation. But lately I see a lot of California corporations because California is catching up too, because we have all these services. Okay, so that's it doesn't make a difference. Ultimately, if you're California or Delaware, ultimately legally, you have to go through the same process. The only difference is you have to pay more money to set up a Delaware corporation because of all the additional costs you have to cover for administration and all that. Okay, then Delaware is the only state that does not require you to do business over there, just so that you, one of the only states. Okay, so the other thing you need to think about, so I'm giving you all these things you have to think about before we get into what kind of company we're going to talk about, right? Employee stock options. If you're planning to have employees, that you're going to give him shares in the company, I would immediately tell you set up a corporation. Don't bother the LLC. Corporations are set up to have investors, to have founders, and have employee option pool. There's different types of stocks that gets issued. LLCs does not have that option. LLC just gives you interest in the company. There's no stock. You don't get a stock. You get membership interest. So it's not as sophisticated for that purpose. So if you're planning on ultimately giving advisors, your board members, your employees stocks, or you're going to have investors, you probably should consider a corporate. I just tell you up front, that's probably what you're going to get advised to do. Now, whether it's going to be Delaware California, that's something different, but that's what you get advised to do. Now, if you don't have employees and you're planning, you're your partner and you're just planning to have whenever you want to give him something to make him happy, right? That's that, interest in the company, maybe LLC might be a better option for you. Again, depending on the business model. So, any questions? Yes.
You lost me there. You said that you can give away. I thought there was no stocks at LLC. So what?
No, I'm just saying if you feel like charitable and you just want to give something to them, like a bonus or something.
Right.
But if you want to give them share in the company,
Then, yeah.
probably corporation is a better option.
Gotcha.
It's clear. I'm getting a lot of calls these days, and people come up and say, I want an S corp. I don't want a regular corporation, I want an S corp. And that's my favorite. I don't want a regular corporation, I want an S corp. And I tell them, S corp is a corporation, right? No. I've been told, my advisors told me, I need to have an S corp. 10 years ago, okay, when I was a much younger, جوجه بودم تو این industry, میشستیم جلو کلاینت های جدید بهشون گفتیم که you should consider S corp. First of all, anybody knows what S corp stands for?
No.
Nobody knows.
Small corp?
Ah, you get a star now. Small corporation. C corp means corporation. S corp means small corporation. Okay, so I remember I would tell people you should consider S corp and a small corporation, and then it'd be some dude. Those are all dudes. There are more women now. But all dudes had dude advisors, had dude lawyers, had dude accountant. They would look at me and say, "What you little woman? What are you telling me? They're telling me for this corporation. What is the S corp? What are you talking about? I'm not going to be a small corporation. I'm going to be next Google." And my answer to that was, well, S corp doesn't mean that you're a small corporate. S corp is just a tax election. Okay? So you set up a corporation first, and then in 90 days you go to IRS, say, IRS, I am not going to have foreign investors. I'm not going to have more than 100 investors. Everybody who's a shareholder in my company, so it has very strict requirements. Everybody in my company who is investing is an individual who's a citizen or a permanent of the United States. And I'm going to issue one type of stock, common stock. So can I be treated as a small corporation? Why would you want to do that?
Tax benefits?
Excellent. C corp and S corp. The only difference is a tax election. We just covered that. So what that means I'm going to be treated as a small corporation rather than a regular corporation. Regular corporations, have you ever heard of double taxation? How many of you have double taxation? Do you know what that means?
No.
It's good for you to know this general language that people throw out there. It's important for you to know what we're talking about. Go ahead. You know what that means?
I think when you have get taxed for your salary and also your stock, something like that.
Close. So double taxation basically means the corporate pays tax on income, so does the individual shareholder. So that's a double taxation. So you get taxed twice on the income. Okay?
Can you please just state again?
Okay. So when the income comes in, right? So you have an income for the corporation, right? So
You
the
mean
way
revenue or profit?
the corporation, it's on the income. It's tax on the income. So many of you probably for your personal expenses, you write some stuff off, right? You can't really write off that much as an individual. When you have a company, you get the benefit of writing off business expenses that you just cannot do as an individual. So in the United States, corporations are treated as humans, okay? And then there's the human who owns that corporation, right? So what happens is this money comes in the company, and you write off certain things, and the rest becomes the profit. And you can't just write off everything. There's got to be profit. So what happens is when you go to do the IRS taxes for that year, if you're regular C corp, you will have to pay the taxes on the income, and then you distribute out to the individual shareholders their profit, right?
Yeah.
Then they have to pay taxes on it too. So that's what's called double taxation. So both the and this is a federal tax. That's not new California. There's two taxes, by the way. There's California federal and there's the federal IRS. That's IRS, and then your California, which is the franchise tax board. So you have two different taxes you pay. So we're talking about the IRS tax right now. This only relates to the IRS. Has nothing to do with California. So so when you have a C corp, you get taxed twice, basically, as a corporation. So S corps and LLCs, they're considered flow-through. And why do we say flow-through? Basically, it flows from the corporation or the LLC, the S corp, into the individual shareholders or stockholders. So basically, what it means is they won't be the corporation or LLC doesn't pay federal tax. You pay on your K-1s. So I'm not a tax person. So that's the extent of how much tax I can. You can ask me whatever, but I probably won't be able to answer more than that.
I'm just going to challenge you on that.
Go for it.
Is there a limit to the amount of the follow-through?
Limit to fall.
Follow-through, like, is it
No,
like...
if you're an S corp, everything gets flow through to the
Everything
individual.
goes,
Okay, so if you're S corp, everything goes to. But if you're C corp, it doesn't apply. The company won't pay. So basically, the company says, okay, I made $100,000. I had $58,000 in costs and expenses that I'm writing off. I'm left with $48,000. Now, if you're a C corp, you will pay tax on that $48,000. If you're an S corp, that $48,000, you pay zero, it goes to the shareholder, and then the shareholder pay taxes, right? So what happens over here, if you're C corp, you pay tax on the $48,000, and then that individuals who get the benefit of that profit also pay taxes. So that's a double taxation. That's what that is. So again, so if you're just starting a business, an S corp is probably a better structure for you than a C corp, because unless, as I said, early on you have investors who are holding companies, so if you don't fall into the strict guidelines of what qualifies for S corp, you don't have a choice. But generally, for every startup I set up, initially we try to do an S corp for them till they go and fundraise, and I tell you why. Because the good news about an S corp is it's a tax election for the year, so it can get withdrawn. So if you're early on starting a company and you don't have that many investors, you don't have any investors or anything, and you don't want to pay the taxes, and there's some income coming in, you probably want to do it as S corp. And when you're ready to do fundraising and you don't qualify for S corp, you just withdraw that tax election. Okay? So it's not complicated. It's not a mystery. It's just. That's why I'm saying you have to kind of think through these things. Yes?
What's the typical cost involved from switching between S corp and C corp?
There's no cost. It's a tax election. You just file a form.
Okay.
And then next year, your accountant will file as a C corp rather than S corp. Okay? That's the best way.
Can we change S corp to C corp?
Yeah. So the S
And
corp.
vice versa.
I have never dealt with having but I'm assuming, I think because every year you renew whenever you pay taxes, your account, I'm assuming they can at that point see if you can qualify for S corp and change your status. So basically your accountant will deal with that at that point. But initially, you have 90 days to elect to be S corp. So it's important for you when you structure your company to decide if you're going to be. So when you call me and tell me I want an S corp, I'm not going to say sure. I'm going to say let's talk about it. Okay? Generally, there are two. Really, ultimately, out of hundreds of companies I set up, very rarely I've done partnerships. Very rarely I've dealt with, setting up any. I've done nonprofits too. I've done that too. But general, 90% of my 95% of my practice, I do corporations and LLCs. And now that we covered S corp versus C corp, we're just going to talk about corporations, because ultimately, as I said to you from the beginning, S corp is a type of a corporation. It's just a tax election. So as far as the legalities of how you structure a company, it's a corporation. Okay? So I'm not going to distinguish between LLCs and corporate. I'm just going to do. Okay? Is that okay? Okay. So. Corporations obviously are the oldest form of an entity, other than having a partnership that shake hand and doing a business on your own. And corporations are very stiff. They're very lawyerly. They have all these stringent requirements. You have to do all this paperwork. There's so many different parties involved. The funny part about it is you have all these formalities, and ultimately it's not really because you can play with all that, but they require all these things that you have to do every year. You have to file certain things, you have to do certain things. LLCs came along, and LLCs are much more relaxed. LLC, pretty much for LLC, you do what you need to do at the beginning when you set up the company. That's the most expense you're going to have for LLC with a lawyer up front. Versus a corporation that you is a little more paperwork to do at the beginning, and then every year you have to do certain things to keep up with the formality. Why is that? Because, as I said at the beginning of a few minutes ago, the corporations are treated as humans, so they shield you. They shield you from personal liability. That's the number one reason, as a lawyer, I would tell you to have a corporation or LLC. Accountants will do it for accounting purposes. So we have different interests in that, right? But I will always tell my clients, you should, even if you're a person, but if you have employees, if you're doing stuff that you have liability for your clientele, it's better to shield yourself. Why? You have a home, okay? You have your business, you have some assets. If you don't have a company, somebody sues you, they're gonna sue you personally, right? That means what? They can take everything you have if they win. Of course, if they win is a condition, but still, that's stress of getting it. When you have a company, the idea of it is they sue the company. So the assets of the company is whatever the company has. So it won't be your home and your car and your children's college fund and all that, right? So for that reason, for that protection, they have made it that you have to make sure if you are a company, and you, especially a corporation, you have to act like a corporation. So you can't just set up a corporation and then don't act like a corporation. If you're going to act like I'm running a business, then if I'm going to sue you, the first thing I'm going to do is going to say, you know what? I'm going to break through that wall of your corporation. I'm going to come after you personally because you did not act like a corporation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But if you are, that's why they have these requirements that you have to do certain things to keep the formality. So, LLCs are not as, they're much more relaxed in that sense. Because they came later, and they were really set up to give you the protection of the liability, but also give you somewhat of a tax break, but also not have you having to do all of these. Because, a lot of businesses, they just don't have shareholders and, stock options and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of idea to not deal with that unnecessary things, right? All right. Corporation or LLC, now we're going to talk about the documents and format here. ما میخوایی یک کورپوریشن ست اپ بکنی درسته کورپوریشن بهتون گفتم پیپر ورکش خیلی بیشتر از LLC خب شما اول هم باید یه آرتیکل فایل بکنین که بگید من انقدر شیر دارم انقدر من فلان بعد بایلا بکنید بایلاتون مثل کانستیتوشن کمپانیه بهتون میگه که چجوری بیزنس آران میکنین کیا ریسپانسیبل آفیسرها چه ریسپانسیبل دایرکتور چه ریسپانسیبل همین بعد باید بیاین رزولوشن بکنین با بورد ممبرها میگن مثلا این آفیسرها رو ما اپروو میکنیم این شیر رو به این میدیم خب آفیسرها بعد بیان بعد شیرهولدرها بعد بیان دایرکتورها آفیسرها رو اپروو بکنن so there's a lot of form حالا همه رو بهتون میگم امکان تمام آفیسرها فقط خودتون باشه تکنیکی رو پیپر ولی مثل اینکه کلاهای مختلف میذاریم برای کارهای مختلف Okay, it's a little complicated, don't worry, but that's part of my job. ولی just to let you know. So این سوالی که داشتین منیجمنت اولا که یه سری پیپر ورکه درسته. حالا اینو داشته باشین بعد LLC. بعد اگه مثلا شما فاوندر هم دارین و پارتنرشیپ دارین، مثلا بعد یه فاوندر اگریمنت هم با هم دیگه انجام جدا از همینه که بین فاوندرها که چه ریسپانسیبیلیتی که چه میتونن باید کنن. و کمپانی نمیخواد مثلا فاوندر بره بفروشه شیرش رو این کنترل ها میخوان داشته باشین دیگه نمیخوان یا یکی بذاره بره یا مثلا God knows اتوبوس بزنه بمیره یکی you don't want مثلا زنش که باش مشکل داشته بیاد کمپانی تیک اوور کنه اینا چیزا واقعا آدم‌ها همش فکر نمیکنن میدونین that these are my job this is the stuff that I have to talk to you about nobody wants یا بله
just on that note what's the difference between a founder and a shareholder
okay shareholder founder کسی کمپانی فاوند میکنه okay shareholder کسی که equity interest کمپانی داره generally
میشه تکرار کنید یه لحظه
چی گفتید؟
میشه تکرار کنید همین جمله آخرتون فقط.
فاوندرها کسایی که کمپانی رو فاوندر
خب
شیرهولدر کسی که اکویتی یعنی اینترست داره، یعنی شیر داره تو کمپانی، پول داده شیر خرید یا کار کرده شیر خرید. فاوندرها اصولاً تو کمپانی شیر داره. Not always, by the way. Not always. Okay? It happens situation که فاوندر شیر نداشته باشه. They come later or something like that.
بین هم هست که preferred استاک باشه یا کامن استاک؟
خب استاک هولد میرسیم. نوعای مختلف داره. نوعای مختلف توی کمپانی داشته باشه. اصولاً فاوندر کامل میگیره. کسایی که اینوست میکنن preferred میگیرن.
اوکی.
دلیلم داره. حالا میرسیم به اون. جواب سوال شما اینه که فاوندر میتونه استاک هولدر باشه، میتونم نباشه. ولی جنرالی فاوندر کسایی که کمپانی رو فاوند میکنن و منیج میکنن یا stock holder کسی که stock.
At the end of the day, both own stock, and maybe some people put money to get those stocks. The founders just get the stocks for the fact that they founded it. That's the difference.
یا پول گذاشتن، بحثی به نوع کمپانی داره. ولی این if we're talking about the typical startup company Silicon Valley, most probably founder یا IP assignment کردن، مینیمم پول دادن برای استاکشون، اینوستر رو میان پول میذارن. ولی خب اونم بحثی به نوع استاک داره. You can have very different kinds of stock. سوالش
حالا پر ادامه بدین شاید من جوابم گرفتم.
حالا اینو داشته باشی بعد میام حالا برسه به LLC. خب LLC فقط یه داکیومنت داره called the operating agreement. یه مثلا چند 5 صفحه باشه ها. خب ولی that's it. تو اون پارتنرشیپ اگریمنتتون هست، تو اون استاک آپشن این چه بای بک کمپانی هست، تو اون نمیدونم استراکچرش کی منیجر کی، همه رو توی یه داکیومنت. کورپوریشن تمام اینا رو باید جدا از هم دیگه انجام بدی. So it's a lot more rigid, I should call it. خب حالا یکی پیپرورکشه. Then you get into the management. Okay, so من ندارم بکشم براتون، من وقت درس نوتم بکشم ولی حالا بهتون. So اگه اینجا فکر کنین این کورپوریشنه این بالا.
Do you want me to bring the board?
No, it's okay. Are you following me? Yeah, we have a corporation up here. این corporation at minimum 3 تا چیزو باید حتما داشته باشه. یه دونه آفیسراشه. اوکی؟ آفیسرها کیان؟ آفیسر کمپانی منیج میکنن. دی تو دی کانترکت رو ساین میکنن. میشه طبق قانون وقتی میخواین ستاپ کنین باید سی ای او داشته باشین، سی اف او داشته باشین و سکرتری. کورپوریت سکرتری. خب؟ سو این 3 تا حتما باید آیدنتیفای بشن. خب؟ این همه میتونن یه نفر باشه. ولی هر کدوم کارش فرق میکنه با اون یکی. سی او obviously تصمیم گیرنده است، سی اف او کار فاینانشال میکنه، سکرتری هم بیسیکلی فرمالیتی کورپوریشنه که باید استمپ کنه روی مثلا هر چی که شما مینیت مثلا میدین بعد امضا کنه بگن این مینیت های کورپوریشن. اون میره همش یکی باشه تو سه تا باشه. اینو مینیممه. حالا میتونید پرزیدنت داشته باشین، وایس پرزیدنت، ولی اونا کورپوریت آفیسرای اضافه اصل کار سی او، سی اف او، سکرتری. Then you come and the second thing you have to have shareholders. Okay, اینا کیان؟ اونا کسایی که کمپانی اون میکنن، اکویتی کمپانی، اونا که یا پول گوشن که سهم بگه، سهامدار کمپانی. سهامدار کمپانی میتونن آفیسرها باشن، میتونن نباشن. خب سهامدار میتونه 1 نفر باشه، سهامدار میتونه 1000 نفر باشه. سهامدار میتونه انواع اقسام سهامدار باشه. حالا به اونا بذارید بود تا شاید نتون. ولی basically you need to have سهامدار یا آفیسر. خب حالا برای اینکه این سهامدارا لایبل نباشن صحبت که شما داشته می‌کردیم که اگه کورپوریشن سو شد نتونن بیان شما رو سو کنن به عنوان سهامدار کمپانی. درسته؟ کی مسئول اپریشنه؟ برای اینکه کمپانی که خودش آدم نیستش که. خب نه همون دیگه ها. That's it exactly. That's the tricky part ها. تو قانون آدمه. ولی خب نه دست داره بنویسه، نه مغز داره فکر کنه. کی میکنه این کارو؟ آفیسر باشه.
اوکی.
خب ولی آفیسرها شیلدن. آفیسر ریسپانسیبلیتی هم اگر فراد بکنن that's different. ولی میگم جنرالی برای اپریشن معمولی اگه برای بیزنس امکان اشتباه بشه، بیزنس امکان تصمیم اشتباه گرفته بشه، دایرکشن که میرین پولی که قرار در نیاره کمپانی برشکست بشه all that kind of stuff. So آفیسر لایبیلیتی میمونه این وسط. این حالا به خاطر که اینا شیلد کنن از هم دیگه، به خاطر که این برمیگردیم به صدها سال پیش وقتی کورپوریشن استارت کردن گفتن سهامدار به خاطر ریسپانسیبل نباشه باید کاری به اپریشن نداشته باشه. سو سهامدار نمیتونه اینوالو منیجمنت کمپانی بشه. خب پس الان چجوری ریپورت بگیرن؟ دایرکتورها پوزیشنشون وسط سهامدار و آفیسر هست. بیسیکلی آفیسر و منیجمنت دی میکنن ولی باید ریپورت بدن به بورد و بورد باید یه کارهایی که اثر مستقیم روی سهم سهامدارا داره اونا باید اپروو بکنن. خب حالا این بورد دایرکتور میتونه از طرف امکان داره مثلا من یه کمپانی دارم به عنوان بورد دایرکتور از طرف من یکی از آفیسرها خودم رو میفرستم. خودم میدونمشون. درسته؟ یا میتونم خودم بشم بورد دایرکتورتون. ولی اصولا بورد دایرکتور نوعای مختلف یه دایرکتور مثلا اسکورپار میاشید اینوسترای مثلا A سریز رو رپرزنت میکنه، یکی از اینوسترای B سریز و یکی کامن. So you always have by requirement of the law باید 3 تا 5 تا حتما باید آفیسر دایرکتور داشته باشه. So you have 3 officers by law and then you have 3 to 5 minimum 3 max and up to 5.
اینا میتونن یه نفر باشن؟
نمیتونه دایرکتور یه نفر باشه. اوکی حالا گیریم من کمپانی زدم با دوستم. فقط ما 2 تاییم. خودمون هم سهام داریم، خودمون آفیسریم. نمیتونیم بریم دایرکتور دیگه بیام. خودم میخوام بشینم. So as long اگر سهامدارای کمپانی از 3 نفر کمتر باشن میتونیم بگیم بورد دایرکتور مثلا 2 نفر باشه یا 1 نفر باشه بسته به نمره
اون عدد 3.
ولی ریکوایرمنت قانون شما اگه بخواید کورپوریشن باید 3 دایرکتور داشته باشید.
یعنی اگه 4 تا باشیم میشه 5 تا.
میتونید 4 تا 5 تا 6 تا 7 تا 10 تا ولی مینیمم نباید قانونا نه اون ولی ریکامندیشن که همیشه فرق باشه. میتونید 4 تاش ولی امکان تای بشه.
اوکی.
سو میخواین همیشه آدم هم فرق باشه. ولی قانونا با 3 وقتی می‌نویسین آبایلا مثلا 3 to 5 and you can do anywhere between 2 to 5. اگه بیشتر از 5 تا خواستین بعد توی بورد رزولوشن بنویسین که ما بیشتر از بعد بنویسین چند نفر. خب LLC هیچ حالت مسئله نداره. LLC منیجر و ممبر. کار همه آسونه. ممبر چیکار میکنه؟ میتونی حدس بزنید؟ ممبر چیکار میکنه؟ چیکار میکنه؟ ممبر چیکار میکنه؟ We have member and manager. فکر میکنی کدومش منیج میکنه؟ آها. ممبر چیکار میکنه؟ ممبرشیپ داره. سهم داره. متوجه هستی؟ ممبر and manager. خب؟ خیلی وقتا ممبرها منیجر هم هستن. Sorry, am I losing you guys? چای بخوریم با هم دیگه. خب.
تو LLC منظورتونه؟
منم فقط
LLC رو داریم.
دارم میگم کورپوریشن همه این چیزا رو داره. LLC هیپی هست. اونا خیلی ستریکت اینا خیلی هیپی هست. So از این لحاظا به همین دلیل دارم بهتون میگم وقتی که تصمیم میگیرین چه نوع کمپانی بذارین اینی که شما استاک آپشن میخواین بدین، اینی که شما قرار اینوستر بیارین، اینی که میخواین کجا بیزنس بکنین، همینا باید تصمیم آیا واقعا باید کورپوریشن بزنین یا LLC. مگه کورپوریشن requires more involved. شما LLC خوب از خیلی لازم. اگه مثلا میگم شما کانسالتینگ فرم دارین کورپوریشن makes no sense. Okay. ولی اگه کانسالتینگ فرمی که میخواین برین $1 میلیون ریز بکنین then you probably should have a corporation. So اینا چیزا که باید درموش فکر بکنین.
Cost to switch between LLC to S corp or C corp?
It's not cheap, but it's not that expensive either. You just basically what happens is بعد اگه already مثلا S corporation داری یا LLC دارین بعد $300-400 میدین که اونو باطلش کنن بعد convert کنن بعد paperwork های اونی که انجام بدین.
I guess what I'm driving at this question is like, it doesn't make sense if you want to get going to do an LLC, then 6 months down the road to switch? Or
Absolutely.
No?
Absolutely, it's not cost effective. And structurally, دوباره از اول شروع کنیم.
Okay,
So به همین دلیل اصلا من بهتون recommend میکنم. These are kind of stuff, that's why you hire a professional. So they can sit down and talk to you and ask these questions. Those are hard questions that you might not know. So that way when you plan it, شما از ایران پلان کمپانی حواستون باشه این چیزایی که بیزنس شما مخصوص و این چیز مخصوص خواهد داشت. شما هم همینطور که از ایران شما فرق میکنه. So you have to kind of sit down and go through all these and make the best decision.
And it's going to be, I think, harder to convince because you founded the company and then at that point you want to change the form of your company. So it's going to be harder to convince them that, okay, this was your rule and now you have these rules, so they ask you for more, And so I think it's better
Who mean
idea.
who's they? The investors? or-
No, the members are, like, the members of LLC is gonna ask you probably for more, like, equity, salary, or whatever.
So let me answer that question. So LLC generally مثلا دو تا آدمن که با هم کار میکنن یا سه تا آدمن. Generally LLC you don't have more than three members.
Okay.
You shouldn't. مگر یه مثلا رستوران تو مثلا سان فرانسیسکو this is very standard اونا میان LLC میزنن سهم میفروشن $10,000 مثلا 10 نفر میان $100,000 ریز میکنن but generally structure معمولی LLC هر کی که founder they're managing the company okay so that's what I want to say member ها اصولاً manager company ها هستن so you're a member manager okay and that's your title حالا میتونیم تایتل خود هر چه میخوام بدیم تایتل اینجا مجانیه هر چی میخواین تایتل لیفتام که به خودتون بدید ولی لیگلی با تایتلی که کمپانی میده فرق میکنه با هم دیگه okay so your managers can so ultimately این نیست که چند نفر بودن و بعد تصمیم یعنی but that's another thing اگر ممبر داریم باید با هم تصمیم نمیتونیم تنهایی تصمیم بگیریم
قانونی نیست
بس نه پارتنریم دیگه همه پارتنریم
اوکی
مگر از اول تو آپریشن نوشته باشه که من تصمیم گیرندم در این مورد میتونی کارو بکنین یا بس به همه برمیگرده تو کمپانی چونه اگر ننوشته باشین حتی اگه 1% یکی اون بکنه از کمپانیتون they have a say in the decision so it's important to مگر اگه نداشته باشین that makes complicated
اگر بگیم که decision making مثلا 2 نفریم یا 3 نفریم منیجر یکیشونه ریسپانسیبیلیتی هم متوجه همون آدم کل همین
منیجر خواهد ولی حواستون باشه همیشه کسی که سهم داره و اینوست کرده تو کمپانی they have to get protected نمیتونه این منیجر همینجور برای خودش تصمیم باید ultimately تصمیمی که میگرفته میشه باید به بنفیت سهامدارا باشه اینو همیشه یادتون باشه روزم برای تمام کانسپتی که سهامدارا باید پروتکت بشن تو نمیتونید تصمیم بگیرید که به نفع شماست ولی اونها رو میدونید that's gonna open up a whole different kind of problem